Hi there, and welcome to my first ever podcast, where I want to talk to you about trends, marketing techniques, large companies, conglomerates like Unilever, P&G, smaller companies, and just everything and anything that affects us as consumers in the segment of body washes and bar soaps, because you guys know I'm crazy about this stuff. And I like every aspect of it, not just testing the products, but also seeing how the companies work, how things are sold. Now, one of the biggest things that we need to talk about right off the bat are the changes in technology and how they are affecting just not how companies are created and selling you the products, but they're turning the world of bar soaps and body washes on its head. You go back a decade ago. If you wanted to buy a body wash or bar soap, you jump in your car, you drive down to Sears or Walmart or Kmart or Target or what have you, CVS, Walgreens, and you would just go to the shelf and you'd purchase whatever was on the shelf. And for the longest time, the shelves have been dominated by the big boys: Dove, Caress, Irish Spring, Axe, Old Spice. And they didn't really have that much variety. It was sort of the same products week after week because there wasn't a ton of competition. And then the internet comes, and now you have all sorts of different niches. You're no longer stuck with the same old, same old. Take, for instance, Duke Cannon. They are a soap manufacturer that started by producing bars that were aimed at ex-military veterans, just large soaps that you wouldn't think would be interesting to the general population. But because their products really had a base and they had the internet, word of mouth, they have expanded. And that's happened with countless small companies. Look at Schmidt's or look at Shea Moisture. Schmidt's on the West Coast, Shea Moisture on the East Coast. For a long time, these were smaller regional players. They had really great products. They had word of mouth, but there's only so far word of mouth will take you. And then you have YouTube, you have Amazon reviews, and you've got people talking. And then, of course, Unilever comes in, buys them out, boom, makes them national, global, and their products are selling like hotcakes. And for good reason, too. They are quality products. And not only that, their repertoire of products has expanded incredibly. And this is great for consumers because now we're no longer stuck with just your regular Dove White or your old-fashioned Irish Spring bar. You can log onto the internet and you can purchase whatever you want. Even with my own YouTube channel, I have seen the changes. When I started in 2015, most consumers were probably still shopping in stores, or I should say the majority. And now here we are, 2019, I get the feeling that at least half of the people who are viewing my YouTube videos are now just logging on to Amazon or their other website and purchasing these products, having them shipped directly to their house, sight unseen. And that is just a radical change. I mean, I'm even changing myself. For the longest time, I did almost all of my shopping in stores. What's changed the most for me has been supermarket shopping and products. If I'm going to get something electronic, I'll just go online. If I'm going to do a food shopping, I'll just go onto the internet, order it the night before, roll down to the supermarket. 5 minutes later, they throw it in my car, and I'm on my way. And I'm even starting to buy some things online, because the marketing has become so effective. Duke Cannon just recently got me on Instagram. I saw a picture of their triple thick exfoliating body wash. And of course, me being me, I had to order it. And I'm definitely looking forward to trying that. Now, while it may seem that the rise of the internet is already upon us, there is still something to be said for shelf space. And while the big players are still on the shelves, they've really sort of neglected that. And that's also left a door open to these smaller producers. And if you are a smaller producer listening to this, one thing you need to be aware of is that there is a war on for shelf space, especially in stores like Target, Walmart, CVS, and Walgreens. Look at Raw Sugar, based out of California. They're a newer entrant to the market, and they just got in with Walgreens, and their products are going to be sold nationally. And this is huge for them because still, no matter how many video reviews or Amazon reviews you can read or watch, the best way to sell something is to get it in someone's hand, where they can pop open that cap, they can smell the product, they can hold it in their hands. That's how you make lifelong consumers. And that's what you want to do now before we switch to just total online sales. You want those consumers today. And that's why smaller companies need to fight like crazy to get into the stores. Look at Dove, okay? Like, a lot of us have grown up with Dove. Like, you didn't just discover it one day. What probably happened was you were at your mother's house or your grandmother's house. You popped into the shower, there was a bar of Dove, you used it, and then you automatically knew you liked it. So you just continue buying. And the same thing especially worked on men for the longest time. I think that's one of the niches that is opening up the most. For the longest time, us guys, we've just used whatever's been there and we just keep using it. We weren't necessarily exposed, not nearly as much as women have been, to a wider selection of products. But now with the internet, we are certainly seeing more. And when you go back in time and you look at how products were sold to us guys, you had commercials. Axe and Old Spice did remarkably well marketing to men. But women have always had the more inroads, so to speak. They've had magazines like Vogue, Essence, things like that. So many different ways to get through to women. And women shoppers have always been more adventurous when it comes to trying new products. Word of mouth, of course, and so on and so forth. But yeah, so marketing has changed as well. Now, let's look at some of the things rolling out in the future. Now, many of you, I'm sure, have seen Love, Beauty, and Planet, and it's just an interesting Unilever creation for me, because before 2017, they did not exist. Unilever, they had a corporate meeting, and they said, what is going to sell well to 25 to 35-year-old women? And so they came up with this brand, which is environmentally conscious, looks fantastic. I love their bottles. They are well designed. The products are quality, and of course, being able to draw on the depth and breadth of Unilever's experience, because they have 1,001 subdivisions that sell beauty products, they can certainly make phenomenal products. In fact, one of Love, Beauty, and Planet's body washes did make my top 5 of the year 2018. But at the same time, too, I don't know, I'm a little jaded by that, because there is a lack of interpersonal connection with these products when you drill down and you just look at them in a more cold fashion. And sometimes I can be a little bit of a jerk. I know answers to questions, and I just like to poke companies every now and then. So I called up Love, Beauty, and Planet, their numbers on the back of their bottle, and I talked to a sales rep, and I already knew the answers, but I wanted to see if they did. So I talked to the guy, and I'm like, hey, I have 2 questions for you. When was your company established, and are you a subsidiary of Unilever, or were you bought out? And so the guy tried to research it for about 8 minutes and could not figure it out. He ended up, someone ended up contacting me again 5 days later, to their credit, and they did give me those answers. But some of these corporate creations I really am a fan of the smaller companies like Schmidt's and Shea Moisture, because you get to read some of the backstories of how they were created. You read about the struggles of the founders, and it really is, there's a human connection which makes it more interesting and certainly more genuine. And Unilever, they're going to be rolling out about 8 or 9 different subdivisions in the future. Because really, I think what their corporate strategy is now is to corner every aspect of potential markets. In the past, they were focusing on buying any mid-range producer that was on its way to becoming any sort of potential challenger in the market. And that was a good strategy before the internet became as widespread as it did. But the reality is they're not going to be able to buy everyone. There are going to be 1,001 different competitors coming out now that the internet is out there and anyone can start making soaps. And this is, of course, goes back to why it's important to get that shelf space now, because sooner or later, there are going to be so many soaps, there are going to be so many body washes, I won't be able to keep up. You as a consumer are not going to be able to pay attention to any one particular brand, because you're going to constantly be bombarded with so many different products. So Unilever, I believe, is just like, okay, we're gonna beat them to market, and we're going to create those niches. So right now they're focusing on women. Next year it's probably going to be, they're going to be looking at guys 18 to 25. They're going to be like, hey, you're a younger guy. We've got the product for you. And you're going to see a lot of that. And there's something about that rubs me the wrong way. Although I will say I am a fan of Unilever. Don't get me wrong. They do fantastic things. Their corporate move towards sustainability is incredible. I love that. What they do for hiring women and putting them in positions, executive positions, is important. And of course it should be, because the beauty segment of Unilever is huge. And who's buying their products? Women. Unilever's corporate profits last year were about 50% greater than they were in 2017. Now, we could actually get into a conversation as to whether their products are overpriced, but that will be a discussion for another day. But yeah, so Unilever making big moves. And I think I should probably stop talking now. I don't want to bore you to death, but there's so much that you don't see that's happening behind the scenes, and it's just exciting and fascinating for me. And so I hope to share more of that with you in the future. All right, so I'm done rambling. I want to thank you for joining me, and I will talk to you next time.